Look, if you've ever ordered an aquarium fish online, you've probably caught yourself wondering how on earth that little guy actually survives the bumpy, totally unpredictable journey through the postal system. Today, we are going to demystify this. We're breaking down the surprisingly intense, step-by-step science of how to safely package and ship a live aquatic animal right through the mail. Because it sounds absolutely crazy, right? Taking a living, breathing goldfish, sealing it in a dark cardboard box, and just handing it over to a delivery driver. But with the right preparation, you can safely mail a goldfish overnight without putting it in mortal danger. Listen, it isn't magic. It's a highly controlled scientific process that completely relies on manipulating water chemistry, oxygen levels, and temperature to put the fish into a sort of relaxed suspension for the trip. So let's get right into it. Part 1, pre-flight fish prep, setting the stage for safe travel. Now, you might be surprised to learn that the success of this whole crazy journey is actually decided a full day or two before the fish even leaves your house. To get them ready, you have to completely stop feeding your goldfish 24 to 48 hours before shipping day. I know, it feels kind of mean, but starving your pet for a couple of days is actually the ultimate act of tough love before a big trip. And here is the reasoning behind that. Goldfish are notoriously messy creatures, and any waste trapped inside a closed shipping bag will rapidly convert into ammonia, and ammonia is literally deadly to fish. By fasting them, you're making absolutely sure their digestive tract is clear. This fasting period is just critical for their survival because it essentially stops them from polluting their own tiny temporary environment while they're on the road. But it's not just about fasting. You also want to do gradual 25% water changes to ensure you are starting this journey with pristine, zero ammonia water. You are setting a perfectly clean baseline. You check their health to ensure there are no underlying illnesses that the stress of shipping might trigger. You stop feeding them, and you gently cycle that water. That trifecta guarantees your fish enters the bag as healthy and clean as physically possible. Okay, moving on to the next phase. Part 2. The perfect bagging technique. Anatomy of the fish bag. The bagging process is arguably the most technical part of this whole operation. It requires total precision. The golden rule here? Exactly 1/3 water to 2/3 air. It's a super common misconception that fish need a bag packed to the brim with water to be happy. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. The fish relies entirely on that trapped volume of air, specifically the oxygen inside it, to survive the trip. More water literally means less available oxygen, which is a recipe for disaster. The physical sequence you follow has to be meticulous, and you've got to be brisk. First, add fresh, clean water along with a couple drops of a protective liquid called methylene blue, which prevents infection and just kind of eases their stress. Next, gently add the fish. Then, you twist that bag incredibly tight to pressurize the air, tape down the corners, and finally, secure the whole thing inside a second bag. That double bag, that's your mandatory insurance policy against accidental leaks. And honestly, taping the corners is such a brilliant expert trick from the popular breeder Luke's Goldies. Taping those sharp bottom corners of the plastic bag completely prevents your goldfish from getting wedged in there and crushed during transit. It magically turns a dangerous, pointy plastic corner into a smooth, rounded edge. You're essentially creating a perfectly safe spherical water balloon for the fish to float around in. Now, to properly seal everything and maintain that crucial air pressure we talked about, you really have to master the grab and twist method. You fold the top edges, twist it exceptionally tight so the bag actually becomes firm to the touch, and then loop 2 heavy-duty rubber bands around the twisted neck. When you do it right, absolutely no air can escape, even if you forcefully squeeze the bag. All right, part 3, climate control and boxing, building the insulated fortress. To protect that delicate, pressurized bag from the wild temperature swings of a delivery truck, a regular flimsy cardboard box just won't cut it. No way. You need to line the inside of your box with half-inch foam board insulation to create a solid thermal barrier. Combine that foam with your sturdy polyethylene bags, thick rubber bands, packing filler, and specific temperature control packs, and you've essentially constructed a highly secure miniature spacecraft. Because here is the biggest danger to your fish: a rapid temperature swing. You absolutely must adapt your strategy to the seasons. Summer means cold packs, winter means long-lasting 72-hour heat packs. But notice the really critical detail here. You have to be incredibly careful that these temperature packs never, ever directly touch the plastic fish bag. You always wrap them in paper or fabric. If they touch the bag, you'll create a concentrated hot or cold spot that will fatally shock the water inside. Once you've got the bag and the climate packs in the box, you've got to keep it snug. You must fill every single empty gap inside that insulated box with packing peanuts, crumpled newspaper, crinkle paper, whatever you have. The entire goal is to ensure the fish bag remains perfectly upright. It absolutely cannot rattle around, slide, or tip over when that delivery truck hits a massive pothole or takes a really sharp turn. Which brings us to the final stretch. Part 4, shipping and safe arrival. The final leg of the journey. So, the logistics of the last 24 hours are just as important as the prep. Seal your box up with heavy packing tape and boldly write live fish on the outside so the handlers actually know to treat it with care. And here's a pro tip. Drop the package off at the shipping center as late in the afternoon as physically possible. This vastly minimizes the time it spends sitting in the back of some unair-conditioned truck before it gets sorted at a climate-controlled facility overnight. Time is literally of the essence here. You should always select a next-day air or an equivalent overnight option. A 5 p.m. drop-off followed by overnight sorting ensures your living jewel arrives by mid-morning the very next day. This rapid transit completely avoids those harsh midday temperatures that could cause the heat inside the box to violently spike. But wait. When the fish finally arrives at its destination, the journey isn't quite over. You have to gradually acclimate the fish to its new home by floating the sealed bag in the aquarium for 15 to 30 minutes just to equalize the temperature. Then you slowly mix in small amounts of the new tank water to ease them into the new water chemistry and prevent a fatal shock. Finally, gently net the fish and transfer it. Do not let that dirty shipping water mix into your pristine aquarium. So there you have it. Now that you've mastered the incredibly rigorous step-by-step science of safely mailing a live goldfish, from the initial fasting phase to the pressurized bag, all the way to building that insulated fortress, you truly understand this amazing feat of modern logistics. The next time you receive a next-day air package, just think about it. There might be a living, breathing creature in the box right next to yours, perfectly suspended in its own carefully engineered microclimate. So where will your goldfish travel next?